Thank you for watching the Electronic Playground podcast. I have a guest with me today, Mary Wagner, and she owns The Rack Home Fashion and Boutique downstairs. Mary, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
And I just wanted to kind of get a chance to get to know you a little bit better. Some things that I've learned about you over time is that you started out as a nurse.
Yes.
And now you are a business owner in the downtown with a really fun, cute store, which is a boutique store, which I go to all the time.
Thank you.
How did the transition happen?
Well, I was a nurse and I just kind of suffered from nurse burnout, which I think is a common thing for nurses. And when I moved to Yuba City, I kind of was looking around and saw that there was a need for something such as The Rack, a little boutique with some cute little crafty, giftable items, and somewhere where we didn't have to drive so far as to Rockland or Sacramento. It was something that I've always wanted to do, growing up in Southern California and having cute little boutiques everywhere, but something not affordable, obviously, for most people to shop at. Southern California has a lot of money and people can afford those sort of things, but I was always working, saving money, pinching pennies. Most of my life was a single mother, so those kind of things were kind of out of touch for me, and obviously having to provide for the children first. So I always kind of in the back of my mind had an idea of I would love to have a boutique and it be more affordable for everybody to shop at. So then moving to Yuba City, we didn't really have anything like that. We have a lot of discount stores, but nothing that was like a little bit more high-end with affordability there. So I have always loved the Huckins Suite. Even when it was the consignment store, I thought, wow, this could be such a great little place. So in the back of my mind, I had this dream that someday that would be my suite. And it just kind of came about that the timing and everything was right, that I could open something like what I had envisioned. Over time, I've been able to stock it with the things that I like, turn it into what it's become today. That's how it became.
Wow, that's amazing. So you've actually had the vision for The Rack for quite a while. I mean, if you're talking about even when Quality Consignment was there, you were thinking this would be a great space.
Definitely. Even when I was nursing, a lot of my girlfriends in Southern California had little bougie boutiques, and I would shop for them up in the fashion district in LA, help them with like what they had. I always had envisioned that I could maybe do that someday. And it was a transition for sure. When I moved here, I did farming. That lasted a few years. I love farming, and obviously it's a staple in our community, but I was doing goat farming, and so it was kind of hard for me to pin goats to have to go off to the butcher, and I would get like an emotional attachment to them, and it just became a little bit too difficult for me, like having named everybody and then they would go off. And so I would have to think of it in a different way. I had a really bad disease run through my herd one year, and then it just got to be too much. And then that's when the boutique came into play. And so it has taken a bit. Like everybody still thinks of Quality Consignment when they come in, and we're not a consignment store. You know, I carry a few vintage products and such, but I think that that's been the harder thing to break, is just that Quality Consignment was around for so long. And so now I think we're kind of getting like our footing in, and now people are seeing what it actually is. And it's been a dream, and I want to be a staple here in the community, and I want to carry what people are looking for. And so that's why I always kind of offer good input, like, you know, if we don't have what you're looking for, please let us know, so then we can be here for the community.
I love that you do that. Now, has that become overwhelming in any ways, like where you feel like too many people are kind of putting in their input and it doesn't really match what you like?
Sometimes, but I have to say that like I get really good suggestions, and I love black.
Oh, I love black too.
You love pink, and I feel like it's very good to accessorize with jewelry and belts and things like that. So I do have to say, when I first opened, my racks were very black and white and gray, and I know how to accessorize where a lot of other people maybe don't lean more towards jewelry and belts and jackets and things like that. And so the input was really good. It was like, could you bring in some color, and can you bring in this? And it was eye-opening to take those suggestions, and then it was just having me have to get outside the box in order to see, like, oh, people can look really great in hot pink and can look really great in reds. And so then I would have to kind of just also tell them, you know, seasonally, I can't get reds in summer, and I can't get these colors in winter, you know, because just the fashion industry doesn't put out those colors at this time of the year. The suggestions are very welcome. And some things, like I've had suggestions for pajamas and things like that, and that's just not my style. And I'm not gonna, you know, necessarily stock the store with things like that, because I feel like there's other places you can go and get those things. The style kind of still does have to meet, like, in the direction that I'm going with the shop. But I really do enjoy the suggestions and things like that. And if I can get those sort of items, I will bring them, because it needs to be for the public and for the community.
Absolutely.
There's some that, you know, you kind of take with a grain of salt, and then there's others that absolutely you bring.
You were talking about, you know, when I start my own business, I'm going to have free time.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So tell me what you've kind of learned along the way from working a traditional job to going into this.
Well, I really thought that I would have excess amount of time. Like, I would open the store, and then I would close the store, and I would go home and have time for my friends and family. I also have a small farm, and so I thought that, oh my gosh, I'm going to have time to go horseback riding, and I'm going to have time to maybe put new things onto the property and garden and do all the things that I truly enjoy doing. And wow, what a shock that has become. There is no time. There is absolutely no time. In fact, I wish that there was maybe an extra day in the week, or maybe a 28-hour day. It actually was quite the shock. I think that self-employment is a wonderful thing. Being a business owner is a great thing, but there definitely is those times where you drag yourself to work in the morning. In my case, I don't have employees. My husband is a big help, but he also has a full-time job. My mother is approaching 80, and she comes in and works the store for me. I am truly blessed to have such a friend as my designer, who comes in and works for me every single day with zero pay.
Wow.
And she deals with my personality, which on the most hand, I am a very friendly person, but there can be days where maybe she doesn't feel that way. And, you know, we always in retail have slow months that sometimes you wonder, am I ever going to even make it through this month with overhead and restocking with inventory? You know, you don't pay yourself because everything goes back into the store first. And I think that we all face the struggles being an independent employer kind of thing, where we don't rely on that paycheck coming either weekly or bi-weekly. And so it can create that stress of, how am I going to make it through? Am I actually going to get through all the bills and overhead and still have the kind of things that people want to come in and shop for? Because in retail, you're always having to turn over and make sure that you have something new for everybody to look at. You can't just have a stagnant store of the same merchandise every day. It definitely was an eye-opening experience, as far as there is no time and there is no extra hours in the evening. I really go home and try to see my little one and help with homework, and then, you know, is it 7:30 yet so I can go to sleep and start the new day. And I don't so much feel like any of that free time. Like, you quit the 9 to 5 for the 24-hour basically.
Do you feel like that there's light at the end of the tunnel for that, or do you feel like this is always going to be no free time?
I think that, like, in time, I will be able to be a little bit more managed. But if you want to be successful, you probably need to pour everything that you have into it. And that's really what I'm trying to do at this point in time. I really do enjoy going to work, so I don't feel like that it's working against me. But I just admire everybody that can be self-employed and make it work and have that longevity in business, because I don't think that people really realize how much goes into being self-employed.
Yeah.
And what the sacrifices are that you make to have a successful business, or even, starting out to try to make it be a successful business, because there's just so much to it.
Have there been times where you're like, can't do this anymore and I'm done?
I have had some days where I feel like I maybe don't have the most positive outlook on my business, and maybe sometimes, and I feel like especially maybe it's just being in California where things are so overly inflated that sometimes I wonder, like, how am I gonna make it through this, and how am I gonna be able to purchase everything that I want to purchase with just how overly inflated everything is. And I realize I'm in Yuba City, and I realize that I don't want people walk in and see something on the shelf and pick it up and be like, oh my gosh, and set it back down. Like, I have a conscience, and sometimes I tell people I'm a terrible businesswoman when it comes to that, because I really do start adding things up on the screen, and when I see the total, just me maybe living the life that I've lived and having to work so hard for what I have, that when I see that total on the screen, I'm like, I could do better for you.
And give you a discount.
And that's how I really feel. It's like, I hate the price gouging thing. I've always not admired stores that do that. I have never understood the $400 pair of jeans. That's great if you can afford it. You know what I mean? And if that's what you're into, then hey, more power to you. But it's hard for me to give a big total. It really is hard for me. I know how hard people work for their money.
I'm exactly like you when it comes to that. It's like you want to give your all because that's what makes you feel good.
Right.
And then you look at the books at the end of the day and you're like, shoot.
Maybe I shouldn't have done that.
Shoot. And then on top of it, you're not just discounting the item, you're still giving all the same service.
Right.
You're still putting it in the beautiful gift bag with the tissue paper and your cute little clips with your roses and your smile, and you're still doing all of that with the discount, and all of those little things are also added on to your bottom line.
Right.
So I understand.
Yeah,
totally.
It's hard. A lot of people say you have to stop doing that, but it makes me feel good to be able to give somebody something that makes them feel good as well.
Absolutely.
And I know that that's not the greatest business perspective coming from me on my bottom. Like I say, it's hard to be in business and then know people's stories and things like that. It was the same when I was nursing. I had to almost be out of that industry because it was so heartfelt. I would get to really be close to my patients, and then if God forbid something were to happen to them, then I was attending funerals, and it just became almost like too much of a close personal connection that I had to remove myself from that field because I was too heartfelt and too emotionally tied to my patients.
Yeah.
And so after a while, it just became not so much the field that I needed to be in anymore. It was just taking too much from me. And so I needed to go in to be something fun and not so emotionally tied to.
Absolutely. And you, even though you did leave the nursing industry and you hopped into entrepreneurship and opened up a retail shop, your heart has not changed.
No, not at all.
You filled up a suitcase full of pasta and flew to Africa. What led you to that decision?
Well, again, that was something that I always wanted to do. I went to nursing school to go nurse abroad. And then obviously the time in my life, I was starting a family. I wanted to move the whole family abroad and live abroad and raise my children with the understanding that life is not given. Living in the United States where we have so much privilege, I wanted my children to know that life is not a privilege, that you have to work for the things that we have, and that people around the world don't live with privilege. So I wanted my children to be raised like that. Not so much live without, but just know that life is a struggle and that plenty of people around the world struggle. That everything that we have, we should be very grateful for and appreciate. When this opportunity came to go to Africa, I was like, I want to go. This is what I've wanted all my life. Honestly, when I got off that plane, I know that this probably sounds odd to some people, but I felt like I was at home. Those doors opened, and when I smelt the air in Africa, it truly was like, this is where I am supposed to be. It was almost like I had been there before.
Oh, wow.
And nothing was foreign to me. Even seeing that sort of poverty in Africa, it's night and day difference from being in the States. My heart felt at peace and that I was home. We had so much luggage. It was really unbelievable because everybody took some sort of donation. And when we pulled up to that orphanage, the children had our bags unpacked within 2 minutes. Everybody grabbed a suitcase, everybody hauled them upstairs, and these kids were so happy to see us that it literally brought tears to your eyes, where we got there so late at night and everybody came out and grabbed a bag. And I'm talking bags, huge luggage bags, probably as large as this couch. Everybody grabbed one and hauled them upstairs, and within minutes, all of our stuff was unloaded. Where I look at children here in the States, and you're like, can you grab a bag? And they're like, oh, it's too heavy, it's this, it's that, I'm playing my video game, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. The appreciation and the love that I felt from these kids, I honestly cried for almost 20 hours on that plane home. I just didn't want to leave. And I talk to them almost daily. I will WhatsApp the kids over there, and I established friendships with people there in a 2.5 week period that would take years to establish here. And there's no racism. Everybody looks at everybody like we're all the same color, which is something that we don't really see here,
right.
I guess. I really can't wait to go back, and I kind of am counting down the days to go back. And it's just something that was an experience that I'm so grateful for. I'm so grateful for, I don't believe in coincidence. I kind of believe that everything happens for a reason. And to run into the women that I ran into at the farmer's market, and for everything to just come in the way that it came in, it was truly a gift from God.
Yeah.
I mean, I have so much faith now, where before, you know, it kind of changes from day to day. And that was just an experience of a lifetime. And for these people to live in such a dictatorship over there, to still have this outlook on life like every day is going to be okay. And these kids came from, their stories are so tragic. They all go to university and become something, like there's a lawyer, there's an award-winning journalist, a doctor, missionaries. I mean, all of them accomplish something great in life. It's not like some of the commercials we see for other charities where the kids have flies all over them, right, and big bloated tummies, and you know, for a cup of coffee a day you can sponsor a child. It's nothing like that. I mean, these kids are very well loved, they're very well taken care of, they go to boarding school, then they come home, and it really is a beautiful, beautiful place, and they just have so much love.
Wow.
I would have taken all of them home with me if I could have. I really would have.
How many did you bring back?
I would have loved to have taken them all. I mean, there were so many kids that I actually sponsor a couple of the kids now. I would love to go and get them, but in Africa, you have to live in the country for 3 years before you can do an adoption. And a lot of that is just to keep the culture alive. It's kind of unfortunate, but in a way it is a good thing. But yeah, I would have brought everybody home. I mean, I would have probably chartered a plane and just brought them all home. They're just so amazing. They're amazing kids.
Where do you see yourself going with the rack? I know you said you want to be a staple in our community.
I do. I will be here. I have a long-term lease, and I would just like to see where it goes. I have this thing about going to Africa. I really want to see the orphanage be successful, and I want to see the hospital get built, and I do want to spend more time over there. I wanted to go and spend a couple months over there in December, but I don't think that's going to be possible with the business. So I'm looking at maybe going twice a year. Then I can keep the business up and going, because it was just too hard going this last time for weeks and having people try to cover the business and everything. So I do see I will be here definitely for another 2 years. And if I can grow it to the point that I want to, then I'm going to continue on. And I mean, maybe somebody wants to franchise me.
Yeah.
You never know. But I would like to be here in the community, and I would like to keep it going. I mean, it has been really fun over the year. Maybe after 2 years, I'll get the roots in that I want to be here. I mean, to stay here in this building and then just continue it going.
Yeah.
I appreciate everything you've done for me. I mean, getting the word out and everything. And it's been a great experience, and I would love to keep it going.
I mean, I say it all the time. I absolutely love your store. I bring all of my friends in there. You see me all the time.
Yes, of course.
Come check out the rack.
Yes.
Because it's never just the same things. It's always something new. So it's not like I'm going in and looking at the same paintings on the wall. And everything is so unique. There's not 50 of one thing. You might have 1 or 2 or 3 of each thing that you have out. So it's like, if you want it, you might as well get it now.
Any store, of course, a big box store is going to have a lot of everything. But I try to keep my orders down to the bare minimum, just because we are a small town. And of course, clothing, I have to order so many, but I don't tend to do a lot of reorders, just because I don't want the whole who wore it best in Yuba City.
Right.
I don't want you to go into your friend's house and say, oh, I also have that, and let me guess, you got it at the rack, And so it's one of those things that I want to be more specialty, find those unique items where only you're going to possess it, or only I'm going to have it, where we're all not going to walk in and be like, oh, I also have that, I don't want to be the big box store.
Right.
I really do spend a lot of time trying to find my items and trying to be one of a kind items where no one else is going to have it. And so you're going to have that specialty item where like, oh, if I don't get this today, it might be gone. It might be there for another week, or it might be there for 6 more months.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things that I bring into the store that I really think this is going to be gone tomorrow. And then I'm like, I just can't understand why you're still here.
Yeah.
You just never really know. I mean, I bring some things in where I'm like, and it's still sitting there. So it's, again, that's where the suggestions come in, because sometimes I might not hit the mark,
Right.
So my style over somebody else's style, or my taste over somebody else's taste. So you just never really know. I thought blue would sell. Blue does not sell in Yuba City.
Wow.
And so I guess that blue and white just hasn't quite made it to here yet.
Like a certain shade of blue, or just
any blue. It just is not a Yuba City thing, but blue is hot everywhere else. And so it's like, I don't bring blue anymore.
Okay.
So then I'll have somebody come in and they're like, do you have blue? And I'm like, nope. So
of course they ask, right?
It's just kind of how the luck of the draw,
Mary is just on Plumas Street, 653 Plumas Street, right at the corner of Plumas and Center. You cannot miss it in the Huckins buildings. Thank you again for coming on.
Thank you so much, Cameo. No, that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for watching.
Thank you guys.